Hi there. Welcome. My name is Stephanie Stephenson, and I am known as watercolor artiste in social media circles. And I am welcoming you to my Wednesday night live stream. This is the weekly live stream I do to keep myself accountable to myself and, well, to my friends who join me to keep me painting. Uh, Lately, I've been doing a lot of that. So Wednesday's not the only time I do it, but Wednesday's the only time I do it online and live, like a crazy woman. Yeah. Um, and I'm on, unless the storms knock me out. I understand we're in for some storms. I'm not sure what the timing is. I'm also on Starlink. So most of the time through rain, it works. But in the heaviest of thunderstorms, when it's really, really heavy, sometimes it slows down or goes out temporarily. So if you lose me, then I'll call it quits for the night, taking my cue from the weather. So, uh, okay. Hi, Shatosa. Welcome to the chat. I see that you said you're watching on YouTube. Welcome. I got the YouTube chat window up too, so if you decide to chat through the YouTube one, you can. Uh, that's up to you. But welcome. It's good to have you join in. Um, and of course, my sister-in-law, Lisa, is in the chat. She is the author of the book to which this cover art will be applied. And so, yeah, exciting stuff for a collaboration. This is our second collaboration together. The first one was the watercolor that I did for her short story called Glass Lake. Excuse me. Excuse me. Allergies have started for me, by the way. I had to take a Claritin D, and so I get the tickle in the back of my throat. So I apologize in advance if I cough unexpectedly. Linoleum, and my husband would get that joke. But yeah, so as long as the storms stay at bay, I'm on till 9:30ish. Like I try to cut it out at 9:30 to respect everyone's time, especially those that join in. So tonight's focus is this 30-inch by 30-inch canvas. It's going to be called Resilient, unless there's a better name for it, which Lisa might want. But that's the title of her novel. And so I'm going to use the same title for this painting. I'm happy to do it. So yeah. Let's see. News and events. I had some cue cards here because sometimes I forget or I, you know, drone on. So, and for some reason, the light seems to dim. Starts off bright, but then dims. So I apologize if I'm coming in dark. So, um, so yeah, I am still waiting to hear back on my applications for some juried events. I applied to a art gallery for one of their open showing galleries shows that are happening in a couple of months from now. I think it's July. I think their deadline was a week ago. I think, and I think I don't know when I'll hear. So I have to keep track of the emails. The other is Artist Network Online. They have an online thing. I applied for that. That I won't hear back until June 1st, so that's going to be a while. And then I also applied for the Dahlonega, Georgia Wine and Arts Festival that's taken place in May. Their deadline was March 6th, which was Friday. I had sent in my application the week before. I believe the jury process is happening either now or in the next 2 weeks. And I forget when they say they notify artists. And then if I get in, I've got a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I'm going to try to keep pumping out paintings to build my body of work. And I've been working heavily on a commissions page for my website. My website is midlifeartist.com, and I have a web store. So you can shop on my store for prints and originals of paintings I've already done, and then future paintings that I get loaded up. So yeah, and then like I said, I'm going to put up a commissions page, but they're going to be very selective and very limited because I do artwork on a part-time basis, and that means I'm going to have to be selective and also limiting in when I do commissions, especially when my primary goal is to build up my body of work for these events that I've already applied for. So we will see. I'm currently working on that commissions page. I expect to probably publish one before next live stream next week. So stay tuned. I had put my ways you can connect with me before coming on live. I'll show that again, hopefully, if I remember, at the end before I sign off. So you can connect with me through Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, and YouTube. And then I have a QR code that will take you to my website. So if you've got a smartphone and you do the QR code thing, you can just scan that puppy and it'll take you right there. So anyway, and then because I finished 2 of the 3 paintings that I had in progress this past week and weekend, I have this one left, which is what's going to be focused on tonight until I complete it. But I'm going to be doing a painting of my grandson. I don't share much about him online because my son does not want his face online, and I can understand that, and I respect that. So I think I've shared his picture once or twice on a very small, but that's it. And but I'm not going to do it anymore. I want to be a proud grandma. I want to, brag on my grandson. Um, and it's hard not to, but I gotta. So, but I'm going to be painting that for my son, who requested a painting of his his son. So yeah, my grandson, my first grandchild, who's going to be 1 in July. I don't know if I'll get to see him before then or by then or even after then. So we'll see what happens. Um, and then the other thing, I've been entertaining ideas. I'm doing another biblical story depiction on canvas, but I'm not sure yet. So we have that bouncing around in my mind. And while that's happening, I'm working on the commission page and the online stuff as well. And this weekend, I'll be going up to Chattanooga because there is a art warehouse there that does printing, that does scanning and high definition photography that I think would probably even do better than I do with my camera. And it's time, I think, I get serious with that. So I'm going to go investigate and see what they cost for that. And then I might even move my unsigned print marketplace from Pictorum to them, depending on what I find out. So we'll see what happens with my field trip on Saturday to Chattanooga. And then also, I am working on dated equipment, limited equipment to do these live streams. So it's very beginner, not pro. I'm learning my programs, and I'm trying to get better with settings for audio, for video. Obviously, my webcam kind of is lackluster. So I do need to get a better webcam facing. I've got a camcorder for the artwork when I work on it, and that's it. Well, I've got my palette cam, which is an old phone that I use, that I connect through my software. So yeah, if you're interested in helping me get my live streams and my videography better, you can support me through donating on Rumble or Cash App, which I have on my contact me page, or the connect with me, connect and support page on my website, which is midlifeartist.com. And then, of course, if you buy a print from me, that's also a way to support me. And so at some point, I might be able to upgrade my equipment and have better audio, better visuals. And until then, this is what I got, and I will continue to try to improve my skills with the software. So All right, so let me also, since this is done, I'm going to put this there. I want to show you real quick the completed paintings that I did. Hi, Art of Zen. Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good night down there in Texas. And we're going to get rain tonight, probably some storms. So, yeah. But anyway, let me hold on. I got my electrolytes here. I've been feeling like I need my electrolytes, so I had to stock up. But let me show you my two finished paintings, and then we'll get underway. So the first one I finished this past week and weekend is, let me pull this back. Is this one? This one's done. Okay. This is 18 by 24. 18 by 24, and it's still not dry up top. I had to paint the edges, and up here where it continues you know, is still a little wet. So I have to wait till it's completely dry, and then I will sign down at the bottom and varnish it, and it'll be ready to go as an original. And I also want to make sure that I get a nice photograph or a scan of this to have prints done, so I can do signed prints. A lot of people like this one. I like this one. And it was one of the fastest paintings I completed. I didn't expect that, and I'm glad for it. So yeah, there's that one. And then, oops, I'm getting my fingers wet on the top there. I'm going to show you my Amazon. My Amazon is also 30 inch by 30 inch. And there we go. And she is complete. She is done. I finished her face better, and I finished her outfit better, and I completed the foliage on her left side, and touched up some other areas, and make sure her hands look okay, and she's done. And just like with the other painting, I had to do the edges, and I'm not done on this edge or the bottom one. I got to do these, but I'm waiting for the top edge here. My white areas are taking the longest to dry, so this is still tacky, a little wet, and I want it dry before I handle it more. So yeah. Yeah, my chiropractor. I showed him a picture of it from my phone, and he's like, "Is that going to be up for sale?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I just haven't gotten that far yet." I said, "But yes, that's my intention." And he says, "Let me know." So I don't know. I might be selling that depending upon if my chiropractor wants to buy it. And I'm not going to. I put a lot of work into that, and I like that canvas and painting, but I do have to sell artwork. So if someone does want to buy it, they're going to have to be ready to pay for it, because it's a big painting. A lot of work went into it. I'm proud of it, and I'd be okay if I ended up keeping it. But like I said, I'm not sure what the price is going to be yet. I have to kind of look at it, evaluate my time and other factors. And then what I'll do is I'll report back out when I've got it loaded to the website. By then, you'll know what the price is. Plus, there'll be available prints for it that I can sell as well for a much less expensive price, because prints are prints, right? So anyway, okay. So with that being said, I am going to, oh, I didn't do news and events, but there's the news and events slide. um, this was from last week's, where I changed up my home page and my contact page here, which is the connect and support page on midlifeartist.com. So if you haven't already connected to me, you can connect to me on any of these places. And And also the Cash App is near the bottom of this page on my webpage, that you can donate if you choose to. Again, anything I get through this page, through this website, is strictly for my artwork and my ability to share online for it. So strictly for the business. And again, I have potential expenses if I get into the art festival in Dahlonega, Georgia. I'm going to have a hotel stay and I'm going to have to buy a white tent. So there's going to be some additional expense with the hope I'll have a return on that investment when I'm there. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, but you can connect with me through my webpage there. So yeah, let me go to, palette cam and camcorder. Woohoo! We got it going on. Okay, so you can tell my palette down here is pretty stark. I got some reds, which of course this is a lot of red. I worked on their faces some this past week. They need more work. I got their hair worked on some more. And I want to start getting detail into the buildings more. I got to change up the firearm at the request of the author. And I want to start bringing in details and refining the color story on this. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm probably going to have to add some colors to my palette here. Let's see here. Do not reach for your, I'm going to reach for something to drink and my brush thing's right there. I gotta be careful not to reach for that and put that to my lips. And this is a little bit of a close-up with the camcorder. I can back it out later, but I think what I'm going to do is, even though I want to work on their faces, I'm going to let that dry a little bit more, come back at another time. I might touch their hair up a little bit, but I think I'm going to work on their outfits maybe, and definitely the buildings, and see where it takes me. I want to make sure that the edges are straight, and I may need to get my my stick. I gotta get my stick. There we go. My stick. This is to keep Ron in line when I'm not doing art stuff. Bam! No, just kidding. I love my honey. He's great. All right, what do I have? Oh, you have another firearm change. Well, you're gonna need to tell me, honey. Anyway, I'm not doing that tonight anyway, so you can tell me about that in. No, it's not a big enough stick. Ah! But anyway, I want to take this and make sure that I line it up and make sure that the buildings that are straight up and down are not, you know, I free-handed a lot of these buildings, but I want to make sure that when I'm doing detail that I bring in a little bit more accuracy to the perspective. So I'm going to make sure that these are angled correctly, and then also that they're straight, because this looks like it's bending. Yeah, yeah. What I usually do is, when it comes to the paintbrush dip, whether it's the oil paint one, which is, sludge, or a cup for water, for watercolor. The watercolor one, I usually have, uh, I'm gonna, I got these little clips, and I'll put it right on the edge of the cup, and I'll have this part facing me. So if I go to drink by accident because I'm too busy chit-chatting or something, that'll stop me. So I actually have, I gotta do that. I'm gonna leave that right there. So you can see it in the palette cam right there. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna have this ready. And then we'll get some paint going here. I don't know if I'm going to be using a lot of white, but I'm going to put white down because I usually end up using it somehow. So I'm going to go ahead and put some white down. And then we will, I do need to put some blues out. I was thinking of maybe changing the storefront coloring. It's mostly in shadow, so it's not going to be muted color if I do, because these are in the source picture brick buildings, and I don't really want to lose that per se, but perhaps the front walls of these shops or what have you, or businesses have some sort of color or siding or something like that. So what's the Red Hawk? Anyway, okay, I got white. I do need probably Prussian blue. I'm not going to put out red because I got red here, but I am going to put out yellow. That is lemon yellow. And then I got cadmium lemon. I think I'll use this for now. And then, of course, I probably need to have my burnt umber. So yeah, we will go with that for now and see where it takes us. Okay, so I'll put. I did work on the stress too this week, using the cadmium red light for the brighter sections of this dress. It clearly looks like a satin dress from the reference photo, and this is a leather red skirt with a sequin top. So we're gonna refine some of the edges, get some of the lights and darks defined some more. If you hear thunder in the background at any point during this live stream, that means the storms have come in. So far, I don't even hear rain, so that's good news. 44 Magnum. Okay. So is that what you want to use in this painting? I'll have to paint that in. And then blue I'll put up top. So how is everyone doing tonight? Everyone have a good day at work? Everyone okay? Anyone doing anything wonderful and special this weekend? Oh boy, talking guns. We like that. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to try to get some. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, all right. That's not bad, actually. That turned out okay in terms of the, trying to see where this kind of goes. All right. They're actually not that bad. It just might be the way this is angled. All right. I'm going to do some of these darkest darks juxtaposed against some of the reflections. If at any point in time my cat comes down from her perch in the window over there and wants to go out, I may have to take a moment to give her the exit strategy. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna, and there's glare, I may have to stand up for this, but let's see where we go. I'm going to do Wait, I'm going to add ultramarine blue to my palette. I don't want the darkest of darks for blue in case. Where is my... Uh-oh. I got cobalt. Maybe I have to pull cobalt. Where is... Oh my goodness. I'm a mess. It's official. It's official. Aha. Ultramarine blue. There it is. I usually have my palette ready to go, but not as prepared as I thought I would be. All right. Have you worked on your plain artwork, Zin? Or is that kind of sidelined for now? I would think you could work on that if it rains and you can't work on the cars. What kind of cars are you working on? All right. You want cool shadows. And I'm going to do my Galkid medium. Okay. Let's see here. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna refine some of these dark areas a little thicker. You can see here, right? Yeah, okay. Because this is definitely dark. Wow. Is it a hobby that you do then, or are you actually, is that like your job outside of being an artist? Because I know a lot of us are what it would be called bivocational, that we do two things in life, sort of like pastors do. They pastor a church, but they have a job during the week. Some do anyway. I know a lot of pastors up north are like that because the churches are much smaller up north than they are down south. They're poorer, not as well attended. Okay, let's see here. Definitely looks like it's black, but it's not actually. It's ultramarine blue with burnt umber. So I'm not even using black. I'm using a mixed dark. And then down there's an edge here. This is more even with the bottom of the, okay. I'm going to add a little bit of this red. Down here. Not sure why it's. And it's indescript shapes here. Looks like some sort of receptacle for trash in this image. Sort of a cityscape. I know that there's another edge here. Another edge. Okay. This is dark. New Holland dealer. What is New Holland? Forgive my ignorance, because I don't know what that is. I think that's coming out a little bit, which is good. I'm going to move my camcorder so you can see it. I don't think I've got that edge showing. Oh, maybe I do. Okay. All right, I do need to put a little bit more. Gotta mix a little bit more of this. I did not do enough. I thought with the medium that I could get along, make it last longer. Everything's still working. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm using Galkid medium. It's a faster drying medium to help these two dry faster. There is an edge here, a windowsill edge. Sorry if I'm leaning into this that you can't see, but I got a glare. That's really kind of coming out. I like that. Good. What I want. Oh, I had asked what New Holland was then. Yeah. I mean, I could stop and look it up online, I suppose, but I figured you were right there to answer. Now that you are, I'll let you tell me. Tractors. Oh, okay. That makes sense. I didn't think that through. I've seen New Holland tractors. Good known. Just don't see them often. I'm not in that field, so I used to watch tractor pulls up in New Hampshire. It was part of the autumn fair circuit, mostly Hopkinton Fair in New Hampshire, uh, has the tractor pulls. So Massey Ferguson and things like that. Um, got awfully loud back in the day. Let's see here. I'm sorry if I'm cutting off the camera here, but trying to get ahead of this glare. This is really a dark window. because there's a glare right here. All right. And then here is not dark enough. This is the side of the further away building, and this side is facing us. It's more of a purplish kind of, let's see, I would say it's a red purple more than it is a blue purple. So I'm going to do that. This is a little dark, I think. Well, maybe not. Sometimes you may not be seeing it right. I want to put signage on one side of this. I want to put the bar that this one is the waitress for. And I think it was stone something, or what was it, Lisa? Really, Zin? It pays more than an automobile. Well, they're not as well. It's probably a trade that's not well populated, but employment-wise, right? And not a lot of people are coming out of high school saying, "Gee, I wanna be a tractor mechanic," right? So there's probably a high need for them, right? Okay. Yeah, that's better. This is a this is actually in shade, and it's a little too light in my first pass. So the second layer here is going to be a little bit more tonally accurate. I can hear my kitty cat snoring. She has this cute little whimper when she snores. It's like, mm, mm. It's just adorable. Mama cat. We tried to entice her out, which we usually do every Wednesday, so she does not trapped in here with me behind closed doors. But she didn't even come out for food. She just decided it was time to lay down for a nap. There, see, that looks right. That comes in darker. That really registers the face of that, while this is in the sunlight. This has to come down a little bit more. So yeah, that looks better. Let's see. That is not, I don't want it to be as dark. The stone lion, yes, that's, I'm thinking I'm going to put the stone lion on this side, but since you're the artist on this building over here, Lisa, there's a nice spot that I can do the stone lion on this face here. But I could potentially do it here, I guess. Which side would you want it to be on if you had a choice? Well, work ethic is a hard thing to find nowadays, isn't it? This is, this edge here needs to be down. And this, because this is not as dark as the darks over there. I'm going to do the red, more red than it's dark, because it's the corner. Yeah. Trying to see how dark that is because the glare is right there. The glare! Okay, if it's my call, it's my call. I'll figure out. I have to plan out the lettering and such before I try to paint that in. Trying not to get in front of the camera so you guys can see me painting. But it's awfully hard when I'm fighting the glare. And then up here, this is real dark, so I want to make sure I get that. This is real dark, this under eave up here, and then there's ridges. To capture some of that. Do any of you watch the YouTube channel Zach Rios? Zach is Z-A-C and then last name Rios, R-I-O-S. Do any of you guys watch him? I recently discovered his channel. He was in the recommended one day. And he does videos about entitlement culture. He also does videos about people with bad money decisions, bad credit, or talks about the car market, that type of stuff. I had to watch him a little bit in reservation because what he presents can be so depressing about society in general, but it's interesting to hear some of the things he presents because I haven't heard them otherwise. And it's a lot of reactions to TikToks and stuff, TikTok videos and what have you. And the gall of some people is unbelievable. And I'm like, oh my gosh, talking about job hunting too, and the gall of companies nowadays. And it's like, whoa, the job market has certainly changed since the last time that I had to go searching for a job. Holy cow, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never want to have to worry about searching for another job. But if I do, I have to know what the heck I'm going into. Well, you need to get out from underneath the rock, Lisa. All right, so there are ridges to this eave. So I'm going to try to represent them. I'm doing this freehand, which is kind of crazy. And I'm doing it with a big brush. But that looks like it's developed pretty good, I would say. Like I said, the lettering on these will be done at a different point in time. I'm going to what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's see here. That's too dark. I need to do a smaller brush. Stephanie, don't be afraid to switch brushes. Yes. Talking to myself again. like a dodo head, orange. All right, so what I want to do is put some, I just want to touch that. Get some orange here. You can see right there. Right here is very bright. Is that bright enough? No, it's not. Maybe I just need to do straight up yellow and then blend it. And all I'm going to do is just do some paint strokes. And then I'm going to get some of this red in there. And it'll blend into orange right on the canvas. It's a nice rock. Yeah, I don't know if you've had to interview versus be interviewed much at all, but I just watched a video yesterday. I think it was was it yesterday or today? I was showing it to Ron, so it's probably yesterday. Um, and I can't remember the name of the channel. It's new to me. It popped up probably because of the job search kind of algorithm. Not that I'm looking for a job, but it's probably from the Zach Rios kind of thing. Um, and apparently, companies are using AI interviewers to weed out candidates early in the process. And not sure how it goes because he kind of was already on the phone, and it was a phone call with an actual AI, but it didn't identify itself as an AI. But he got it to admit that it was an AI, and he got it to. He told it. He told it that his first name was like 10 names long, and it had Rizzo. It was J Balls something something Rizzo. It was just funny as all get out. And at first the AI was trying to just call him J Balls. and and he says, no, you need to call me by my complete first name. And so every time the AI would refer to him, it would go into the long litany of the 10 names that comprised his first name. And it was just hysterical. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. And I'm like, wow, I don't know what job posting that was, but whoever gets that transcript is going to have a heck of a time. Yeah, yeah. It introduced itself when it answered the phone, or if it called him, I'm not sure, but it in the greeting introduction it said, "Hi, I'm Pluto," and I'm like, "Pluto," um, and I'm here to talk to you about your qualifications, and it sounded to a person maybe not paying attention, and they're just kind of they got their attention is divided or something, right? Uh, it sounds like it could be a normal person, uh, but it certainly wasn't. And let me tell you, he got it to sing the SpongeBob, well, not sing, but recite the SpongeBob SquarePants lyrics. Um, and such. And I, it was, it was pretty funny. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I ever find myself in the job market, what by chance or involuntarily, I might have to deal with these things. And I certainly don't want to interview with a AI, but I may not have a choice, right? It's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, pretty weird stuff. I certainly wouldn't want to have to do that, but you never know. I hope I stay in the good graces of my current employee. I'm very happy there. They've been good to me. I try to be good to them. So trying to do this. Can you see that? Yeah. It's a very bright window. It's not supposed to be, but it's coming across as bright. So I may just, I want some color other than red up here. And there is the reflection going on here. All right. This lower one is more of a purpley reflection. Reflection, not a dark. All right. Down here, the bright yellow orange. Oh my God. Well, I watched another, I get a lot of AI stuff because I'm intrigued by keeping up with what it's supposed to be able to do. And also, again, if I find myself having to look for a job, not that I plan on it, not that I anticipate it, but one never anticipates getting laid off. I mean, not if you're happy, not if you've been at your job for as long as I have, and as well as I've done there. But you never know. We have new management that doesn't know me like the old management did. So I do live in a little bit of fear. And and anyway, so I end up having this kind of content in my recommendeds. And one thing talked about how AI will lie to you. It's already programmed to prop you up, and I think most of us already know that. You know, unless you tell it to say no, don't, don't blow, air up my skirt, kind of a thing. Um, it's going to, you know, it's going to tell you how wonderful you are and this, that, and the other thing. And sometimes you don't want it to do that. You want an honest feedback. So you have to tell it, and even then, it's not guaranteed. Not guaranteed it's going to give you honest feedback. What was it? The video again. It's another channel I'm not subscribed to. I've only seen recommended a couple times in my feed. But it was showing the AI on the phone. It did it to Chat GPT. I think it did it to Grok. I'm not sure. But it was showing he was asking, yeah, Grok does tell you you're brilliant, and maybe that's why you talk to him more than you talk to me. I know what you're doing. But anyway, the guy in the video, he was holding a Sharpie, and he says, "Can you see me holding the Sharpie?" And he was holding it in front of the camera of the mobile phone to which he was speaking to this AI. And the AI says, "Yes, I see you holding a Sharpie." And he says, "What does it look like?" And the AI would then say, "It has this cap color, and the body of it's, a grayish white and whatever." He says, "Okay." He says, "What happens if," yeah, crazy bear, I see you. I see what you were saying. But he asks the AIs that he interviewed, he says, "What happens if I let go of this Sharpie?" And I'm holding my paintbrush as an example. If I let go of one end of it, And so he's holding it up like that. He lets go of one end of it and it's still like this. And the AI say, oh, it's going to fall down due to gravity and blah, blah, blah. And he says, can you see it? And the AI says, yes, I can see it. It's clearly fallen down. And he's like, no, it's not. It's not falling. It's straight across, and it was interesting to see that. So there's some interesting stuff out there that kind of helps understand really what its limitations are, I think. And so, yeah, interesting stuff. Of course, the more I watch that stuff, the more it puts it in my recommended little algorithm. Thanks a lot. But yeah, it's interesting to see that. But I guess one of the things that I'm going to try to do is keep keep educating myself about the possibilities that I may end up having one day to talk to one of those stupid things and in order to get a job or something. I hope not, but one never knows. And how to manage it, And I also worry about ageism, which is against the law, but it happens all the time. The older I get, the less likely someone's going to hire me, even if my work ethic's right there. So that's looking pretty good, I think. Okay, honey is brilliant. Does that work? Do I get do I get a cookie? Do I get 2 cookies? Do I get 10 cookies? No? Wow, what am I doing here? All right. There is here. I do have things I'm not representing here that are causing me to fumble right here. I see I have that. I got something down here from a paintbrush that's embedded in dried paint. Someone's going to have a bristle. Oh, good. I'm glad you like that. Yeah, I think that really is kind of registering now, definitely. And here, there's some. I'm trying to just not, I'm trying to use non-distinct brush strokes to indicate that this is a reflection, but you can't quite see the detail, you know. That might be a little too bright there. Little too bright. There we go. And get some of that red back in there, especially down here. There we go. All right. Electrolyte time. So that's coming out, but I have a nebulous area right here between these 2 buildings. I gotta redefine. Clearly this is a darker structure, but here, this building is actually much brighter than what I've got represented. So I gotta make sure that I do that, but I think I gotta get this nebulous area redefined from the reference shot. Let me do a palette cam move so you guys can see how it's a looking. All right. All right. I'm gonna back up my chair. All right. You can see the glare exactly where I'm working. So you can see that glare. I'm standing right where I've been standing to paint this area. So you can see that's why I've been doing this. You see the difference? Oh. So it's looking pretty good. Here's the close-up of the faces. Again, they're in progress. So they're definitely still need to get fleshed out, pun intended. Like I said, I did some of the cadmium red light in these areas, and even here. Again, this is not refined, but you can see that the forms are taking shape. Huh. Which AI did you use, Zen? I tend to use Grok from X, and from time to time, I may find myself using, I think, the Microsoft one because it's on my computer and it's what popped up. But yeah, I got to do this kind of activity over here now. And let me show you what the reference photo is looking like. You can see the chat windows. Say hello to yourselves. Right there. But yeah, this is the reference photo. So you can see I've got nebulous areas here. And you can see down here it really is bright, but then it gets really dark. So you can tell I've got some more definition needed on here, but I had gotten it blocked in, and then and now I got to do the same thing with this side that I've done with this side. Although I think I might wait to do this until I can figure out how to get this defined, even if that means painting over it a little bit. So yeah, I may go ahead and move over to this side. I'm not worried about the gun being in the way because I'm going to paint over that eventually anyway. It's going to be probably later. But I think that signage, this is a good spot. There's also one here, but the further away you get, the harder it would be to read. So this is about the better spot, Lisa. Otherwise, I'd have to try to fit it in here. But yeah, it's coming along. But I've got it. I think I've got it focused in. Anyway, and you can see this is actually the color, the base color when I did the first lay down of color of at all was this quinacridone magenta, and then I came in and did the negative drawing to place things onto the canvas. So it's come a long way for sure, but it's still got a long ways to go. This looks pretty good, and it's just, this is, can you see it? It's just some brushes of a light blue. It's not even white. So not bad, not bad at all. Getting there. So make sure I do right by Lisa. It may take me a little bit, but if my deadline is still April 1st, no, all jokes aside, I should be good. Thank you, Crazy Bear. All right, let's see here. I guess I'm going to stay standing. Let's see. I'm going to back this out a little bit. Oh, back it out, Stephanie. And see if I can't angle this towards the left side of the canvas so you can see me work on. I'm going to zoom in a little bit now that I've got it. There. Does that work better? Can you see that all right? Yeah, okay. So let's see here. This is definitely a brighter brick red, orangey red, and it gets red, and then it gets a dark red. And this corner up here is the darkest. This eave is definitely not a straight line. Gotta make sure that gets straightened out. And then under here is very dark, like it's a recessed door. It's recessed in from the edge. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push in the darks first and see where that gets me. So I know that I've got some darks here. This is a dark edge. You guys probably can't see this. I don't have any glare on this side of the canvas. You guys probably do though. So I apologize. And you see I'm still holding the brush almost at the end. Yeah, well, you want to make your book the best that it can be, and I want to make sure that this painting is the best that it can be, so that when you're ready, everything is copacetic. It all works. Of course, I'm using a big brush here again, and probably should be using a smaller one, at least the further away from me I go. I'm using more the medium, the Gal Kid. This has a ledge all the way down, so this needs to go down. This doesn't need to go that dark. What's great about painting over dry areas is you can take some of the paint right back off. And it came right back off. Very good. So there is a heavier black right here, but it fades. And then there is a little bit of the corner of this building. Obviously, it's that indented area of the, there you go. You're always using big brushes and I'm always using little ones. Yeah, well, what's the biggest you've ever worked, Zin, in terms of paint, canvas size or, substrate size? Because I think you tend to work on a smaller size of paper or canvas or whatever, right? Or do you work big too and you're just crazy for using small brushes? That's right. You heard me. I called you crazy. If you use small brushes on big canvases. See, these big areas, you get more impressed or pressed in on. This is a little lighter as you get towards the edge, but not much. And to keep the perspective, I've got to get a little narrower. 16 by 20. Okay. Yeah, so you're working on a small footprint already. And that makes sense though, to use the smaller brushes. But could you use as small of a brush on a 30-inch by 30-inch canvas and not go insane? I think that's the question, Zen. Would you go insane? I know I would. By the time I get to the kinds of brushes that you probably use in terms of size, I'm at the very, very detailed, like I'm trying to get the brightest bright on the face, and I need very precise brush strokes. That's kind of where my small brushes come in. I wish that you could see this. It looks like the glare is pretty bad for you guys. So maybe what I need to do is adjust this camera, or maybe I adjust let's see. Yeah, I think you can see that better, right? I think you can see that better. Of course, I need to make some more of the dark color. So again, ultramarine blue with burnt umber. Again, I'm pushing in the darks, and then I'm going to come back in with lights afterwards to get these defined. So that's kind of what I'm doing, trying to keep to the color story that you see on the canvas. Lots of reds, oranges, and yellows. And we got blue. So blue and orange are your complements to each other. And then I've got yellows of the sunlight and the reflections offset against the purples of the clouds. So yeah, I got some complements going on. All right, Lisa. Well, thank you for joining. I'm going to be signing off in about 15 minutes anyway. So have a good night. Stay safe tomorrow. All right. And I'll probably share a picture of this later. So have a good night, honey. Talk to you soon. Um, let's see. The biggest brushes I use in, this doesn't have a number, but well, it's not the biggest. Let's see where okay. So this is about the biggest I would use now at this stage of a painting. However, I have been known to use this one's, oops. I have been known to use this one and this one to lay down the biggest background color. So, and that's exactly what I use it for. So the bigger the canvas, the bigger the brush to start by getting rid of the white of the canvas. So that's always my first color. And then I eventually graduate down to this one and then work down from there. Let's see here. This has an angle down. Ugh. I definitely need to drink some more electrolytes. I can feel it in my the corner of my hip. If I hadn't mentioned it before, I am crooked as the day is long. What I mean by that is I have scoliosis. And so I've got one of those I got a backward S curve in my back from the neck all the way down to the tailbone. So I have to keep getting maintenance adjustments with my chiropractor to be able to move pretty much. So I talked about my chiropractor at the beginning because he's interested in my Amazon painting that I showed. Now that that's done, I showed it to him on Thursday last week when I went in for my appointment. And he's like, "Wow, is that going to be for sale?" And I'm like, "Yep." I said, I don't know yet for what or how much. I said, but it'll go on my website." So my chiropractor seemed interested in buying my Amazon painting. And I'm like, "All right." So yeah. But yeah, so when I stand for too long, my body says tilt. All right, so I got this darker. Kind of give this a little bit more darkness. Oh, you can't see that portion. All right, this over here is pretty dark. Let's see. My nose is itching. I would say that, and my mom would then, growing up, this is what I heard. If I said, "My nose is itching," and I start to rub it, she says, "Your nose is itching. Someone's coming down with a hole in the britches." And that's right. That's what my mom would say to me. And I would look down at my britches, and there would be no hole, thankfully. But yep, I grew up hearing that. What else did I grow up hearing? Oh, I remember what I remember growing. My mom was born and raised in Mississippi. However, she met and married my dad, who was in the Air Force. And he was born and raised in New York State. And so my brother and I are mutts. Well, I'm a mutt because I was born and not raised in Mississippi, but I was born in Mississippi um, at Kessler Air Force Base, because that's where my dad came in from, because he was originally stationed in the Philippines. And my mom did not want me born in the Philippines. So she told the Air Force that we had to come back so she could give birth to me in the States. And Viola, I arrived. Air Force brat, for sure. Let's see here. Okay, we're getting down to 9:20. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to finish up. Again, I should be using a smaller brush at this point. I'm getting there. There needs to be another edge, but I got to get a smaller brush for that. So yeah, I'm just pushing in the darkest darks. And then I'm going to come back in and pull out the lightest lights. Already that's looking better. Definitely looking like a building. Let's see here. This is not as dark as the bottom portion of this window. Got more red in it, but it's still a dark tone. So I'm going to make it dark, but I'm going to, if you're up close to this painting, you'll notice there is a slight tone change in the upper half of this window. Probably need to get a smaller brush than this one. This, I'm going to continue working with this brush though. Yeah, this is the darkest area of this under portico kind of thing, where the door is recessed in. There we go. And this is also dark in this corner, clearly, because it's facing us. Again, some nebulous areas here. But yeah, well, I'm at close to 9:30. So I am going to try to see if I can't get this glare off. I'm going to do all right. So let me pull this around so you can see it this way. This is what it's looking like. You see, without glare, how the buildings are turning out. How does it look this way? Again, this is a 30-inch by 30-inch canvas. You can tell I'm not touching the bottom of the canvas because that's in front where the edge of my easel is. So I'll have to eventually get down in there. But yeah, so that's what it's looking like. Not bad. Like I said, I still got a lot of work to do. I'm maybe 50% done. Maybe. It's hard to gauge at this point. Hard to gauge. But trying to get this in the shot. But yeah, I'm liking how it's going. Like I said, the faces need to be worked better. Because I really messed them up to begin with. They're doing better now. But yeah. I'll keep going. I'll keep going. So yeah, that's the way it's going along. So yeah, let me see if my little reminders here. So yeah, I gotta find a picture of my grandson and figure out what kind of composition I want to make of his portrait for my son, because he wants a painting of his baby boy. And of course, as grandma, I'm happy to do that. Of course, I'm a little nervous because You want to get that kind of thing right for sure. And then I got to get another painting started to add to my body of work. Thinking of maybe another biblical scene, one that's not as commonly done, maybe. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm trying to think of some other ideas as well. Uh, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Chattanooga Saturday to talk to the printer up there. And they do picture taking. And I'd like to really get some good quality scans of some of these paintings. So yeah, I've got a lot on my plate. Um, and again, if you're watching and not necessarily engaging in the chat, but you're watching and you like what you see, but you're like, man, I wish you had better cameras or I wish you had better audio. So do I. Feel free to support me through the various means on my website. I'd appreciate it because that will help with expenses for the art festivals or for the equipment. I do need to get a better webcam for this shot here. Oh my goodness. Hello, paint. Um, and so, yeah, I'll take support where I can get it. Of course, I would love to be able to send a signed print to anyone who would want to buy one on my site at midlifeartist.com. So that's my sales pitch for the evening. That's it. That's all she wrote. And I'm going to be working on this for the foreseeable future until it's complete, until I've got another canvas going on the side. So I'll bounce back and forth like I have been. But thank you again for joining. Be on the lookout for my commission webpage on my website. That's going to hopefully be up online before next Wednesday's live stream. And yeah, so thanks for joining. Thanks for chatting. Have a great night. Have a great weekend coming up. Stay safe, stay dry, stay warm wherever you are. And have a good night.